Hi, cool that you clicked, and welcome back to another devlog that has been way overdue. I was quite busy the last year and the first quarter half of this year because I moved to a new country and I'm basically working full-time right now, which limits my time a lot. But as I previously mentioned, none of the projects are really dead. I'm working still on both of them. And this time it's gonna be a little bit more special even, because I had the new project that I call Chains of Ice, which is more of a boomer shooter kind of game, but I still had gone over on my GitHub account. So I downloaded that and checked it out, and I suddenly noticed that it's not too broken, and Unreal Engine 5 is just way too difficult and time consuming for me to learn at the moment, especially C++. But I was more interested in my current game with the pixelated graphics, because that is actually kind of a passion project. So I thought, why not just combining them both? What if I have pixelated sprites, but also a 3D environment with active ragdoll effects? Wouldn't that be awesome? As you maybe have seen in my previous videos, I was working on a 2D boomer shooter kind of thing in a 3D environment where everything is actually based on sprites, including the enemies as well. But I wanted to give it a 3D vibe by having different renders from 21 different angles for the enemies, so it gives the illusion of a 3D enemy actually. However, it was too choppy and it didn't really give me the feel that I wanted, but still that style of game really interests me, so I didn't want to quit that one too. After doing some updates on the game and checking the feedback from the people, I was kind of curious about my older project Gone Over, which I actually moved to Unreal Engine 5, and since the graphics look very nice and I have a new laptop which works really well, I thought, oh okay, maybe I can just put the whole project into the new engine, but C++ is too big of an obstacle for me, so I was not ready, or probably I am not ready and will never be ready to study and practice C++. However, I'm still confident enough to try myself with shader coding, and that's exactly what I did. So I thought I can maybe take the elements of my older project from Gone Over, which is like active ragdoll effects and the self-balancing effects, maybe even the gore effects as well, taking those over to my newer project and mix it all together. So I have an active ragdoll shooter with a 2D kind of looking sprites, but the enemies, even though they're rendered 3D, the graphics give kind of an illusion of a 2D environment instead. So I would go backwards. Of course, those projects were way too far apart from each other, and my coding skills, they increase and decrease over time always. I'm always at a different level, so they're not really compatible. So I had to spend a lot of time to make both things work at the same time. And voila, after around 4 weeks, I finally made it work. Keep in mind that it's still an early work in progress situation going on here, but I have to say, from my personal experience, the ragdoll effects, the active ragdoll effects, are way more stable and way more realistic compared to my older Gone Over project. Also, I had a big update in the gore department, because in my newer project, Chains of Ice, I used a blood shader that changes the value procedurally in the shader itself. So sometimes blood splatters, they are being spread more or less than usual, and that way I can actually make procedural blood splatters all over. If I give enough variables inside, for example textures, the textures itself will have lots of different variations based on the random values that I can give it to. So with the base combat system already established, you can consider Gone Over to be a dead game and Chains of Ice to be a dead game, but they got merged, and now I want to present to you Sunset Slaughter. I am actually not sure if it's just my new laptop or if I really just built this project much better than the other ones, but the performance is way higher. It's way better. And this one runs now on URP. Chains of Ice was HDRP, and my late version of Gone Over was also HDRP, but it really just killed the frame rate. But I could still keep those things that I thought I could only use in HDRP. I could still use that here in URP. For example, my shader displacement shader for the dynamic damage system on the enemies. Gameplay-wise, there's not gonna be that much of a change, but the Gone Over right-click aim function is gone. Right-click from now on is gonna be something more related to Perfect Dark, that every gun has some sort of a second function that is unique. The reason why I wanted to get rid of the aim system for every pistol and rifle and shotgun is to balance the game a little bit more, because if you're in an active Ragdoll environment where the enemy is always reacting physically to each hit that they get, it would be better for the player to increase the difficulty by taking away some advantages from the good weapons and giving the advantages maybe to the weaker weapons. So if you have, for example, just a tiny pistol, you have the ability to aim with your function. And the bigger guns, such as a shotgun that can kill an enemy with one shot, you have actually a downside because your function is just the pump itself. You have to manually pump the gun and you only have like 5 shotgun bullets. And the pistol can aim and you can shoot much better, more accurate, but it doesn't do that much damage unless you hit the head. That way I can maybe motivate the player to use all the guns that you have available, and in specific situations the weaker gun is maybe better than the stronger one. I couldn't take over the AI system of my Gone Over game, even though I really liked where I was going there. I probably tried to reproduce that, but with my current knowledge I think I can improve that system much more. So I'm sticking to the state manager that I'm currently using that basically has, I don't know, I think around 10 different kinds of states, how the enemy is going to react to what situation. But I thought I could maybe also try to make them a little bit more smarter by creating a plan. What I mean by that is that all enemies at the moment, they are actually aware that they are all together on this map. So once they see that they're taking over a specific area, they probably would feel more confident taking on the player. Or if, for example, the majority of enemies are dead in that specific area, they would probably look more for cover. That's what I'm trying to replicate. And I already have a good idea how I could put this into practice.